Welcome to my channel. This channel is dedicated to the distribution of generally applicable advice to business owners in the United States. Today's topic will be how to best work with your business lawyers. First, a little bit of introduction of myself and my firm. I am a New York licensed attorney. I specialize in corporate law and focus on corporate governance, mergers, acquisitions, commercial loans, joint ventures, fund formation, and other kind of general commercial agreements. Before I set up my own law practice, I worked for about 8 years in a few prestigious Wall Street and Silicon law firms. And I have done over 100 large corporate transactions. And a little bit disclaimer here, the opinions and views expressed here are only for your reference. They do not constitute any legal advice to any person. So how do you best work with your business lawyers? First off, when do you need a business lawyer or a legal team? Usually it's too early if all you have is just a rough idea whether you want to start up a venture with other people or you want to acquire a business or if you want to invest into another business. But however, it's usually too late if you have signed any kind of document, being formal or informal. Under common law tradition, you could get into binding legal obligations by just signing some sort of what common people understand to be informal sort of memorandum of understanding or term sheet like that. So the best time for you to engage a business lawyer is when you decide to form a business legal entity, or otherwise ready to invest your time or money in the deal. So you need to set the right kind of expectation when working with lawyers. It's just like in any other kind of relationship. You should not assume that the only role that your lawyer is going to play is to help you comply with the law. Of course, that's the minimum. You cannot expect your lawyer to solve all of your business issues, and there are a lot of judgment calls that have to be made by you. And you usually should not expect free legal advice from business lawyers or from any lawyers, except for very preliminary initial discussion. And there are many reasons for that piece of advice, but we will not have time to go into the details today. And so how do you select good business lawyers? The law, especially here in the United States, could be very specialized and complex. So there are a lot of nuance and critical details. If you miss them, you would probably bear the consequences of that in a negative way. So how do you find a proper business lawyer to advise you? Again, since the law could be very specialized. For business transactions or corporate governance matters, you usually would want to work with lawyers who have the relevant specialized knowledge. Somebody who has got at least 5 years of relevant experience, being trained usually by a proper sort of a business law firm. You cannot expect somebody who are fresh out of law school to do business law. And you cannot expect people who advise you on your family law and other sort of matters to work on your the buy and sell of your business. And you need that lawyer to be rather patient and responsive because, again, there are a lot of critical details going into a business transaction or any kind of partnership that you are trying to form with other people. And you need lawyers who are honest, who are prudent, but who are willing to, make a good judgment calls for you and sometimes advise you the risks that you're taking, both in legal aspects and, of course, the implication upon the business. And large and between large law firm and small practices, both have their pros and cons. But large law firms usually, understandable, they charge you much more, and it may be an overkill for a small transaction. But they do offer a much broad set of skills and deeper expertise, especially in complex areas of law. And small firms may be more flexible and less costly, but understandably, they may not have that kind of broad expertise and a large team available to you for your work. So how do you best work with business lawyers? Again, corporate legal documents are highly customized for each transaction, for each client, for each matter. So you need to work closely with your lawyers. How do you do that? You need to read legal documents that they draft for you. It could be intimidating, but you need to get comfortable with that. Once you go through it once, it's not really as incomprehensible as you imagine them. Nowadays, legal documents, a lot of them are drafted, I would not say in plain English, but in accessible language. And after a while, if you start to run your own business, you should be able to read them and even intelligently contribute to the drafting process. And you need to communicate with your lawyers. Your lawyers would need a lot of input from you to understand your needs and the particular facts and the circumstances that he and you, and she and you are working under, right? So that they could address your needs. And a lot of needs are going to be intricately related to your facts and circumstances. And you need to, like in any relationship, you need to listen to the advice of your lawyer, because that's what you pay them for. And you need to, if you have any questions, ask. And if you disagree with the advice that your lawyer gives to you, you should explain, and so that he will understand how and why you disagree with him. So there are a lot of strategies, of course, to reduce the complexities, the legal complexity of whatever you're trying to do, whether it's transaction or establishment of joint venture, or any kind of internal conflict that you are confronting for your company on behalf of your company already. You can go slow. For example, instead of buying a business, you may want to make minority interest investment in it first, and then learn the business as you go along before you decide to buy it. You could do asset-based transaction versus equity investment in a company whose business you are interested in, such that you get to monetize the value of the asset. For example, if you are interested in another company's certain technology, you may ask to license from it if you otherwise have the capacity to monetize the value of that technology. So you can make financial investment being a passive investment investor instead of making any kind of strategic investment, meaning usually acquiring controlling interest of the company. You could also form a simple, not exactly simple, you could form a contractual relationship instead of a partnership with somebody or some entity if you want to work with them, or anyhow explore any kind of potential commercial value together with them. So there are certain practical aspects that you need to pay attention to, right? Legal fees and all that. Usually, unless the matter is really very small, you want to sign a formal engagement letter with your counsel. And usually you should expect to pay your counsel by hourly rate. Business lawyers usually do not work on contingency. And your legal fee invoice should be rather detailed And your lawyer could not and should not just give you very generic sort of, today I work for that matter for 3 hours, for 2 hours. They should give you specific description of every 0.1 hour that they work on. And your lawyer could only charge you for time slots during which they provide legal service for you. If they are talking to you about politics, or other things, they should not bill you the time. And you should collaborate with your lawyer to reduce your legal fees, so that whatever documents he or she or they are drafting for you actually, before they go too far, are in the right direction. That at least they meet your need. They adjust, your facts and your circumstances. If you have any issue with your lawyer, try to resolve it, before it gets out of country. Again, it's just like in any other relationship. And usually it works for your best interest to have a lawyer that you can trust and work with for long term, instead of changing lawyers a lot. This is what I'm going to cover today. And again, this presentation does not constitute any legal advice for anybody. And it may be deemed under certain professional rules of conduct governing attorneys to constitute attorney service advertisement. Thank you for your time.